fella who no mortal can ever kill. So let us turn Nigeria upside down. I am the law and will do what I please. So yeah, man.
My name is Steve HENDEL, and I am the producer of Fela, the Broadway musical, and with my wife, the executive producer of Finding Fela, the documentary about Fela Kuti, and that uses materials from the musical and the making of the musical.
Yeah, yeah.
I think Fela discovered me, really, to be honest. I love music, and I love exploring and listening to music that I never heard before. And one day I was on Amazon, and I must have bought some CD that they had in their database. And when I went onto the website, there was a little algorithm, and it said, if you like this CD, you should try this CD. And it was a CD called The Best of Fela Kuti that had this red and orange cover, and it had a little blurb, and I had no idea who Fela was. And I bought the record, and it came to my house, and I put it on my CD player, and I just, oh my God, what is this? This is just unbelievable. How did I never hear this music before? This is so mind-blowing. I had some background in Nigerian culture and Nigerian history. When I was in high school, I studied West African independence, and I read, some of the great writers of Nigeria. So I read Things Fall Apart and Man of the People by Chinua Achebe, and Palm Wine Drunkard by Amos Tutuola. And I read some of the plays by Wole Soyinka and parts of his memoir, and a book called Burning Grass by Cyprian Akwenzi. And in fact, actually, now I think about it, in high school, one of our teachers was a Igbo, and this was during the Biafran War, and so we knew about the Biafran War, and I knew from being in the commodities business the continued history of Nigeria. So, suddenly I'm listening to this music, and it's an amazing music, and it's about really the history of Nigeria, and about what Fela was protesting against, what he stood for, what he went through, his experience as an artist in Nigeria, using his gift and his talent and his courage to combine, his music and a social message.
It cannot be for enjoyment. Music has to be for revolution. Music is the weapon.
Now, so our life for Africa, they roll since them say we get independence.
The civilian governments with them there, the soldier they protected them.
I thought it was pretty inspiring, and so I one day decided that I should try and see if I could create some sort of a theatrical musical event out of the story and out of the music. We weren't specifically starting to make a Broadway musical. We were starting to try and see where the story took us, and where where we would be inspired as artists. I have the rights to bring a theatrical event based on the music and life of Fela, and I'm working with America's greatest performance creator. If I don't screw it up and we let it really go where it takes us, we could make something really, really special. And we opened off-Broadway in 2008. Nobody in this country knew who he was, really. I mean, it was known to, some small part of the musician community, and obviously the Nigerian community, and then people discovered the show, and it became a sort of cultural sensation. A million people saw the show in the United States, and eventually we were nominated for 11 awards. We won 3. We brought the show to Lagos. The family saw the show and loved the show and embraced the show. We brought it to, the National Theatre of England asked us to create a European version of the show and put it on the premiere stage at the National Theatre, the Olivier stage. It's the only Broadway show ever to be on the Olivier stage. It was broadcast in 400 movie theaters in 20 countries as part of the National Theatre's filming project, and we toured it all over North America. So it was a tremendous experience, and as I said, 1 million people saw it, and I think it was a wonderful thing for me to be part of. We worked on the documentary for 3 years. We found hundreds and hundreds of hours of footage of concerts, interviews, archival footage of Fela and the family that had not been seen. The family participated in the documentary. We interviewed other people who were connected to Fela, and we took 1,600 hours of material, including a Broadway, a concert version of the Broadway show that we did at the family's New Africa Shrine, and then the Broadway show that we performed on the original Broadway set with the original Broadway costumes and cast at the Echo exhibition. I mean, I feel a little badly, frankly, that there are so many wonderful Nigerians here in the United States and also in the UK, where I spent some time with the show, because we in the United States we're blessed to have the Nigerian community here. There are 35,000 doctors in the United States that are Nigerians. Many Nigerian friends, as a result of the number of years I've been involved in this. So the film is 2 hours long. It's a feature film documentary, and what I'm hoping is to release it the way you would release any feature film. So we have a distributor in the U.S., we have a distributor in the U.K., we're going to be selling rights, we have people interested in Nigeria, I'll come back to that in a second, and in Africa. We're going to have a theatrical release, so on August 1st at the IFC Center in Greenwich Village in Manhattan, the film will have its first performance in a cinema. It will play in the cinema as long as it can sell tickets. The week of August 8th, we're going to be in D.C. At one of the landmark cinemas. August 15th, we're going to be in Boston, Philadelphia, New York, D.C., Atlanta, L.A., San Francisco, and Berkeley, California. And by the end of August, we'll also have opened up in Houston, Nashville, Seattle, Santa Fe, New Mexico, and a number of other theaters. So the first thing is I'd like to get a broad theatrical release. We eventually then will be on VOD and streaming services like Apple and iTunes, and on different cable VODs. And eventually we'll be also releasing a DVD. The theatrical release in the UK will be in September. I want the film to premiere in Nigeria at the New Africa Shrine, the family's music venue. And our thoughts are to do that in connection with the Felibration ceremony, which will be around the October 15th birthday of Fela. And then eventually we'll release it, you know, in other territories. In Africa, you know, I'd like to have it on people's cell phones. I'd like to have, you know, figure out ways that, you know, people can access it inexpensively and see it. I'm very, very pleased with it. I think, you know, I think we tell the story in a way that, you know, that brings people in, that's emotional, that's inspirational, that's informative. It has tons of music, obviously. It's entertaining, it's surprising. But, you know, the thing that I loved the most about the musical, and I had many people tell me this, was I came in as one person, and when I left the theater, I left as somebody else. And I think, you know, I think people will go see this film, and they'll end up having that same experience, that when they leave, you know, that they just have, it will stay with them, and it will make them want to sort of think about how they conduct their lives and who they are and what's important, and draw inspiration really from the story of this amazing person. People learn about Fela, but more people learn about Nigeria, Nigeria culture, Nigeria music. The bigger influence Nigerian culture is going to have on America. You know, that's just the bottom line.